All right, so welcome back to the archives. I'm continuing Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men by Lundy Bancroft. And so we're getting into the section on when is it abuse, right? So, like, at what point do you know, oh God, we left the honeymoon phase? And so it's true that almost everyone does yell at one point or another in a relationship, and most people, male or female, call their partners a name from time to time. Some of them interrupt from time to time. We all act selfish and we can all be insensitive, right? These behaviors are hurtful and worthy of criticism, but they aren't all abuse and they don't all have the same psychological effects that abuse does. At the same time, all of these behaviors are abusive when they are put part of a pattern of abuse. Being yelled at by a respectful partner feels bad, but it doesn't cause the same chilled, ugly atmosphere that an abuser yells. And so, a few people from the disability, no, the transformative justice communities, um, I'm trying to think of the resource now. Stacy, like Marion Kaba, and I've heard a couple of folks from the transformative justice circles define abuse as like repetitive harm, right? You can harm somebody one or two times. That's not abuse. Abuse is when it becomes a pattern, like the book says, right? Now, all of a sudden, every quarter, you're getting called names, or you're being sexually assaulted. Every week, you're being slapped, right? Abuse is when it's repetitive. It happens over and over and over again. And so the term abuse is about power. It means that a person is taking advantage of a power imbalance to exploit or control someone else. Wherever power imbalances exist, such as between men and women or adults and children or between rich and poor, some people will take advantage of these circumstances. I've been thinking about doing an episode on the whole Mel Robbins article on no contact, and I think Oprah also did an episode recently on OWN on it. Full disclosure, I haven't read the article. I'm not going to read the article. I haven't watched the episode. I don't have OWN. Maybe one day if I get on OWN again, I might watch it. But for now, I tend to stay away just because it feels like it is clickbait, right? Which again, from a marketing point of view, I understand why that might be necessary. But essentially, when we're talking about no contact, we tend to be talking about people who walked away from their abuser, somebody who there was repeated harm, there was repeated violence, there was repeated abuse, right? There was a power imbalance. The power is not balanced in these dynamics. Nobody just goes no contact because they woke up one day and decided to be dramatic, which is what these women want you to believe, which is why I think they're enablers. We're essentially talking about abuse. When you're talking about no contact, almost always you're talking about abuse. People don't just walk away from people just because, or because they want to feel powerful. No, they're flipping the script on you, right? We walk away to save ourselves. We have forgiven and forgiven and forgiven. We've given multiple, multiple, multiple chances. The person is not changing, which is why it's abuse. Because in abuse, it's really hard for an abuser to change because they benefit from the abuse. I might do an episode on it, but for right now, I'm just going to stick to reading the book and just sharing what I'm learning. Um, it becomes abuse when he retaliates against you for complaining about his behavior. So all of a sudden, he did something wrong, you complained about it, and now he's retaliating. Right now, he's calling you a bitch. Now he's hiding the remote control. Now you can't find your car keys. Now your employer got a phone call about something you did. Right? He's sabotaging you. Retaliation is not always as clear and immediate, um, but you can tell when your partner's behavior is designed to punish you for standing up to him. Even if he doesn't come out until a couple of days later, you know when it's retaliation. He tells you that your objections to his mistreatment are your own problem, right? When a woman attempts to set limits on controlling or insensitive behavior, an abuser wants her to doubt her perception, so he'll do stuff like, oh, you're too sensitive. Every little thing bothers you. Shouldn't be such a big deal. Not everyone is all nicey nicey like you are when you're angry. Don't start talking to me like I'm abusive. I'm just being you're just being like, no, I'm not your ex-boyfriend, right? So now everything is because, oh, you were abused in the past. Especially if you were abused in the past and he knows this. Now everything is because, your daddy didn't treat you right. And so now that's why you're taking out on him. You're like, okay, yes, maybe my father didn't treat me right, but you're also not treating me right. He won't see his part. It's just now you're traumatized and you're bringing your past into the present. You're just angry because you aren't getting your way. And so through comments like this, the abuser can try to persuade you that, one, you have unreasonable expectations for his behavior and that you should be willing to live with the things that he does, right? You should just be okay with it. You should just let it go. Why is it such a big deal, right? Stop making a big deal out of everything. You were actually reacting to something else in your life, not what he did, right? Oh God, now her daddy issues is showing up. She's mad at me because of something her dad did, and now I can't do anything right, right? It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with your daddy issues. You are using your grievances as a power move against him. Now you are retaliating, right? And so all of these tactics are forms of discrediting your complaint of mistreatment, which is abusive. His discrediting maneuvers reveal a core attitude, which is he never explicitly states and may not even be aware of consciously himself, which is you have no right to object to how I treat you. That's a big one. You have no right to object. I've never done anything wrong. You can't say a word. You can only see me as a good person, which is unrealistic, right? Because we all do shit. So he gives apologies that sound sincere, insincere, or angry, and he demands that you accept them. So he blames you for the impact of his behaviors, is never the right time or the right way to bring things up. He undermines your progress in life. He denies what he did. He justifies his hurtful or frightening acts as saying that you made him do it. He touches you in anger or puts you in fear in other ways. He coerces you into sex or sexually assaults you. Studies indicate that women who were raped by intimate partners suffer more deeper and long-lasting effects than those who were raped by strangers or non-intimate acquaintances. Ooh, belly. If he is controlling, disrespectful, and denigrating behavior is a pattern, he shows signs of being abused. And so, yeah, these are some of the difference. Then it's just like, what if he says sorry? Well, when an abuser acts remorseful, is he really, and if he is really sorry, does he make him less abusive again? And basically says abusers have numerous contradictory attitudes and beliefs operating simultaneously in their minds, right? So they believe that women are fragile and in need of protection, but they need to be intimidated from time to time so they don't get out of hand, right? They believe that my partner and I should be equal, but my decisions should rule when it comes to issues that are important to me. He feels terrible on how he treated her, but I should never have been bad in a relationship no matter what I did. I should never feel bad. I shouldn't raise my voice, but I should have control over my partner, and sometimes that means I get loud to control her. You should never hit a woman, but sometimes a man has no other choice. So these tend to be some of the narratives. There usually are story after, right? They'll get you flowers or they'll buy you gifts after they hate you. And then usually it'll come back, right? It matters little whether he's genuine or not, is what it says. Whether he's genuinely sorry or not is not. That's actually not the issue. Clients who get very sorry after acts of abuse change at some rate as the ones who don't. The most regretful are sometimes the most self-centered, lamenting above all the injury they've done to their own self-image. So sometimes it's because they're sorry that they got caught, right? They're sorry that now their reputation is on the line. And you're right, you don't need to do that to my plant. I just watered it. That's why you're playing in there? I.e., so basically key points to remember are the early signs of abuse is usually visible if you know what to look for. If the warning signs are there, act quickly, either to set limits or to get out of the relationship. The more deeply you become involved with an abuser, the harder it is to get out. Certain behaviors and attitudes are definitional of abuse, such as ridiculing your complaints with mistreatment, physically intimidating you, or sexually assaulting you. If any of these are present, the abuse has already begun. Abused women aren't codependent if the abuser is not their partner who creates it is abusers, not their partners, who create abusive relationships. So it talks about trauma bonding in a bit, I think. So that's basically chapter 6, right? Is how the abuse begins and what to look for. What are the warning signs? I saw yesterday. No, I'll get into that next section. So I'm gonna end this here. Again, I just want to get through this chapter by chapter, and so hopefully I can finish the book series today. Okay, so I'm gonna get into chapter 6 in the next one. Until next time, in solidarity.